capable of getting the ball out fast?
Well, as a defensive lineman in general, it always starts with, okay, how many sacks a guy has. But you can be productive by just making the quarterback get the ball out quickly. We play a lot of zone defense, and it's about that. Some offenses, that's a part of what they want to do. They're not going to hold the ball long, and the guys just have to realize that. But we still have to make them throw the ball on rhythm. As far as it being frustrating, no. I mean, as soon as the ball gets out, it's an opportunity for us to tackle them, opportunity for us to take the ball away, and a lot of good things can happen from there.
With Kevin Lovie coming back, how do you look at the linebacker room and making decisions there?
We like options at all positions. I'm going to start with that. We just talk about the D-line and how. And the first time we talked about playing a lot of people, getting a good football player like Kevin back helps. He has had some injuries, so we're anxious to get him into the mix, just not as linebacker, but on the special teams too. We were also missing Zach last week, Cunningham, getting him back in the mix. Camus Gruga Hill has played well. So we have some guys, and we'll try to find ways to get them all into the mix to get reps to see what they can do.
He's ready to go for Sunday?
We'll see. I mean, yesterday was our first practice. He did well. Anxious to see him today and tomorrow.
With Camus, you mentioned, what have you seen from him in these games? It looks like he's impressed. What have you seen from him in his role and how it might expand with the team?
Every time, as you're saying, when he's gotten an opportunity to play, he has impressed us. He has played a couple of positions. He started at Sam. He started at Will. He can play both. He's a big contributor on special teams. Like his flexibility. He'll continue to get reps and maybe even more reps on third downs. But I like everything that he's done.
You guys made some changes in the lineup and playing time where guys lined up in the secondary. Lonnie being a starter and Vernon being replaced by Desmond King and then Javier playing nickel. How did you feel like all of that went? Do you feel like that's your best configuration now for what you want to do defensively? And especially with Lonnie, if you could kind of what you thought of how he played.
Well, we just, finishing up the first quarter of our season, and we're new staff, so we're learning out things about our players daily, and each game we are. And then you make adjustment, you make changes, you look at different combinations. Desmond King has liked everything about who he's been since he got here. He gives us flexibility also, gives us options. Want to take a look at him at the corner position last week, and he did some good things. He'll tell you he'd like to have a couple plays back, but I like what he did first time out playing that position. On where he plays this week, we'll see how that goes. Javier Thomas also, not only just as a special team player, so both of those guys have given us good plays. Whenever you make changes, it's also saying that you're not totally satisfied with the results you've gotten, and that's the case also at the corner position. We'll see how it goes this week. And at safety, Lonnie has moved into the starting lineup when Justin was down. And, of course, now when he's back, it gives us more flexibility, too. We'll keep letting the guys play, and they'll tell us more.
Desmond obviously has most played in the slot in his career. How did you feel like his skill set fits for that spot on the outside, kind of as an every down guy?
You're right. He's been a nickel a majority of his time in the league, but I know a little bit more about his history. He's played on the outside and played it well when he was at Iowa. And he's a good ball skill guy. He understands zone concepts. He's a tackler also. We insist on our corners wanting to tackle, not just tackling, wanting to tackle and be physical. And he does all of those things.
The Patriots are coming into this game missing two of their offensive linemen.
Are they? Can you confirm that?
Yeah.
That would help.
When you are going up against an offensive line that's a little bit weaker, missing a couple starters, do you go into that game with a special emphasis on trying to exploit that to make it harder for their quarterback?
We go in, as far as game plan, we go into the game plan looking more at them being at their strength. As strong as they can be, this is what we're going to be dealing with. So I'm of course familiar with, there are a couple of linemen, been placed on the COVID list and all of that. But we're just assuming they're going to be at full strength when they come in here. And if they're not, fine. But our game plan is more around that.
Lovie, could you talk about Mac Jones and specifically what do you like about him?
Whenever, and again, I don't know a lot about him, but I read and I know just watching. And coming from the college game, I know a little bit more about his history and seeing what he's done in the NFL. For you to come in to an NFL camp and to be a game day starter, that tells you an awful lot in a program like theirs, but any program, for a rookie to play and to play at the level that he has. I think all the different challenges that's been put in front of him, he's handled them all well, right up until prime time Sunday night in that environment. But he can make all the throws. I'm told he's a smart player. His play, just watching on video, says that. So he's running our offense and running it well, and it'll be a good challenge for us.
Is there anything when you're going against your rookie quarterback? Is there anything specific that you think you can throw at them that you wouldn't do to a guy who's been playing in this league for longer?
Oh, I guess most people would say that that's supposed to be the case. I can't say that. When I look at it, if an NFL team puts a guy there in that role, they feel pretty good about him being able to do all of the things that they would like to do. Just like we talked about injury-wise, if a team is not at their best, fine, but we have to look at it like rookie or whatever, whoever the quarterback is, we're going to see their best. We played one rookie quarterback already this year, and he's going to be a great player. Sure, Mac will be a great player someday too. We just hope it's not this week against us.
He completed I think 19 passes in a row this past week against the Bucks, but
I heard that.
But his passes were normally only 5 or 6 yards past the line of scrimmage. If he plays that style, how does that feed into kind of what you guys do schematically on defense?
This is what we don't go. We look at what a team has done in the past, but each week a team looks at us and say, "Hey, this is how we're going to tackle." And so I understand. I know how many passes he's completed, and a lot of them were. The game plan called for him to complete a lot of intermediate routes. It may be a different one this week. So that's how we're looking at it as much as anything. We have a game plan that we feel strongly about. And really, as a young team together, playing together, we're finding out a lot about ourselves and what we can do. It's still really more about that. We did a lot of good things. We made improvements in a lot of areas last week. Red zone defense, a little bit of keeping them out of the end zone, but there's so much more that we have to take care of with us, and that the opponent on the other side, doesn't have an awful lot to do with that.
With all your experience on defense, is there anything you can tell the offense or Mills to help him, or you stay out of that?
As you mentioned, I've been in this a while, and this is how we teach defensive football. It's our defense versus their defense. We have to outperform them. We control everything. Last week, in particular, we had the ball on the ground. We took the ball away one time. 4 other times, we missed 2 interceptions, and we didn't recover 2 fumbles. 4 times. Buffalo took the ball away 5 times. We took it away 1. We concentrate on that as much as anything. And this week, it's about us outperforming their defense, and that occupies all of our time.
It seems like a lot about that is winning those one-on-ones. We talked about linebackers earlier. What goes into that for a guy like Camus or others to be in the situation to what do they need to do to win those and over
I think it's as simple as finishing a play. You mentioned Camus. What he'll tell you is the ball was right there. Catch that interception. Had a couple plays like that. Christian Kirksey will tell you, got his hands on the ball, intercept the ball down in the red zone. It's not major things we have to do. To me, the hardest part is getting in position to make plays. And from there, it's about making a play. and we had opportunities for that. Desmond King punched the ball out on the ground. Maybe pursuit, us running to the ball a little bit harder would have allowed us to get that ball. Terrence Mitchell, ball out, offensive lineman further away. The farthest guy away got the ball. Sometimes break just don't go your way. You keep putting the ball on the ground, getting it on the ground. You keep the ball in front of you and not give up big plays. Good things are going to start to happen. That's what I believe.
All set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last game, you sat down with Davis. What were some of the things you did to try to use it as a teaching moment to learn from the interceptions and the other?
Yeah, the big thing that we are continuing to preach to them is that we got to protect the football. Can't have situations where borderline careless decisions are made. Some of the stuff that happened on Sunday was, they made some good, like on the one tipped pass like that, like Klein made a great play and they were able to make a play on the ball. But when we're starting to force balls and try to do things in tight windows that we really don't want to do, we just got to be, eliminate the careless mistakes there. So, like you said, it was a good opportunity to be able to teach him and continue his growth process.
Forcing balls into tight windows and stuff. How much of that do you attribute to him just adjusting to the athletes at this level and the speed of the game at this level?
Yeah, every week, I think it's going to be a little bit of adjustment as far as just like we talked about last week in terms of his ability to continue to grow. But yeah, some of that's that, and then obviously it's okay, learn from that mistake and let's not make it again.
When you were breaking down Sunday's game, where did you start and looking for where the errors were?
Yeah, to me the one of the biggest takeaways was that it's hard to play behind the sticks as much as we did. Different than in weeks prior where maybe it was they made a good play, whatever. It's 2nd and 11. There was a penalty that ended up getting us into a 1st and 20, which is difficult. That gets compounded with all the other elements that were going on with that game. So first and foremost, we got to do a better job of eliminating that. We can't have the holding calls, can't have the face mask call. It's going to be hard to sustain drives when you're looking at a 1st and 20, and it was basically on the first play of the drive. I think of the 4, I want to say 3 of them ended up being like that, and you're like, holy smokes. So got to do a good job eliminating that, and if we can do that, we're going to give ourselves a chance to be successful.
How was that with that situation? You're trying to evaluate a new scheme, a new offense. As 4 weeks in with that, how difficult does that make it to analyze what works, what doesn't work with an offense whenever those things are getting in the way?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, though. As we continue to look at what we're doing, is the scheme causing those issues? Is it a alignment issue? Is it a personnel issue? All those things get evaluated every single week. So we're going to continue to do that. And like you said, taking those penalties and those things into account, it's part of the evaluation process.
Difficult. What's the conversation with a young quarterback by telling you basically you don't have to be here on every play? It's okay to throw the ball away. How do you have that conversation with a young quarterback?
I think you can have the conversation as much as you want until he goes out and experiences it and makes the mistake and realizes whoa. I think that's kind of what really ingrains that philosophy in the player. It's just like growing up, don't touch the stove, okay, I got you, and then you touch it, I'm not doing that again. So, hopefully he's able to learn from every week, good and bad. He's learning, lessons every time he goes out in the field. So again, like we talked about, just hopefully he's doing a good job there, taking those lessons and continuing to develop.
Tim, what will go into the decision of whether he stays in the lineup or Taylor comes back? What do you think?
Whatever's going to be best for our team, whatever's going to, put us in the best position to win. I think it's been pretty evident that as a organization, that's what we're trying to do here, and we're not going to treat that decision any differently.
You want it to be a tough decision, won't you?
Yeah, because if that's the case, that means that he's playing well and he's making our job hard as far as making that decision. So, ideally, it's a tough one here whenever that time comes.
What input was there in the conversation between Danny Amendola, Anthony Miller, moving on from him?
Yeah, we've got a seasoned vet, a guy who's produced at a high level, who's been in the offense for quite a while. So, felt like we've got a player they played identical positions, and that was felt better with Danny at that point in time.
Like down in distance, that's been a factor with the running game.
Sure.
A couple times you had a 10-yard run with David, I think a 12-yard run with Mark. What do you see the difference in when you're able to pop in and have a few of those, but other times you have like the tackle for a loss with Ed Oliver, things like that?
Yeah. I mean, he made a good play. That was partially scheme, and he had a great get off there. And I've got to do a better job there as far as the design of the play to make sure that we're putting our guys in a better spot to be able to execute that. I mean, but you look at it like you mentioned the run to Mark. Where it was well executed, everybody did their job, and it looked the way that the play's supposed to look. So, again, we just got to continue to figure out ways to put our guys in the best position there to execute and execute their blocks, execute their reads, execute their mic points. It's everyone. It's not just one position group or one person. There's multiple instances where everyone's got a piece of that pie. So we just got to do a better job collectively in the run game.
If you could run the ball more volume and more effectively, it would make it a lot easier for Davis.
Yeah, of course. I think anytime you can run the ball effectively, it takes a little bit of pressure off the quarterback, and he doesn't feel like he's got to go up there and be perfect every single snap. For even the best quarterbacks in the league, if they can't run the ball, it makes things way, much more difficult. You're playing behind the sticks. You're worried about protections. You're worried about hots. You're worried about everything. So the better off we can be in the run game, the easier that job's going to be for whoever's back there.
In your dedication to that plan, at what point does it get to where you might reevaluate maybe changing things up a bit?
As far as
run game, if it's not efficient however many weeks in a row, I mean, at what point do you start reconsidering maybe different options?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you would go back and watch, I think you're going to see that there's different schemes that are used every week, and that's kind of what it is. And we're going to figure out what's going to, like we said, what's going to best put our offense in a spot to go out and block the fronts and the looks and the people that we're going to get ready to play, because this defense is completely different than Buffalo, which is completely different than Cleveland, which is completely different than Jacksonville. So with the way that we have our offensive philosophy, we're going to continue to look at the different looks that we're getting and try to figure out what plays are going to allow us to go out there and have an efficient run game.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.